Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and are having a flare-free day. Thank you so much for coming to my channel today. I have missed you. I feel like I really miss our updates and how you're doing with your chronic condition and endo. I haven't posted in a little bit of time because life has new routines for myself. I have a new job, which we'll talk about a little bit. I have endo updates that have been very exciting because I just get information and answers for my pain, but also there's some nerves in there, so I just want to talk about that. And so I had to take a step back from YouTube and putting out videos because if you've been with me for a little bit of time, my videos are very educational. I have to go into a lot of research on them to provide like the best info for you. So they just take some effort and time to sit down and do, and I just honestly recently have not had the time to really sit down and prep and get the script ready and information. So I'll definitely be getting back into those types and styles of videos that are educational. But I just had to figure out my new routine first and kind of feel settled and comfortable, and it'll come back. I just wanted to come back on here today to have a chatty update with you, to let you know I'm still around, I'm still thinking of you, I'm still here on the channel. Just had to figure out some life bits in between then and now. So first and foremost, how are you? What's been going on? Where are you at in your journey? Are you getting answers? Do you have a good doctor? I was hearing lots of amazing progress at the beginning of the year from a lot of you in comments and Instagram DMs. And I was just so incredibly excited to keep hearing how it's all been going. So feel free, if you want, in the comments to write how it's all been going. And I read every comment and I'm like rooting and cheering you on. Like when I read it, I'm like, this is amazing. Like I'm so proud of them. So let me know how it's all been going. Recently, since my last video, I do have a series going on with my channel, and I am very aware that I stopped midway, and you're probably like, that's the most important video coming up on like the fertility and endo series is treatment options. Like you're keeping us on our toes and at the edge of our seats, and it's not done on purpose. I just feel like I wanted to provide the best information for you, have all of the resources that are up to date, just provide positive and up-to-date info for your journey. And I just haven't had the time to sit and research, write a script, make sure it's accurate, and get that all bundled for a nice video. And it's on my to-do list, and it will be coming out in the next couple of weeks, the next couple of videos in the series. So haven't forgotten about the series, I promise I haven't, but it's something that I really take pride in with my videos, on just providing as much info and detail and research for you as I can. And I just want to make sure it's right before I put it out, and I don't want to rush it. So it's coming, it is, I promise. It's something on my to-do list for sure. But recently I got a new job, and that has been such a breath of fresh air for not only my life, my sense of purpose and identity with work. It's been really positive and flexible with my chronic condition, which I'll talk about with endo. And I just feel really motivated about the work that I'm doing. I feel more connected to it, and it just feels like a heart alignment for me. And so I've just been taking time to get into a new routine of what that work looks like. It's pretty heavy on the topic discussion because there's lots of information and data that I need to know. So it was like sitting and absorbing and feeling like I'm back at university again. So I've just been taking some time to just fully integrate myself into the team and the work itself. So if you don't know, YouTube is not my full-time job whatsoever. Like it's something that I do as a passion project to just feel connected and to raise awareness for endo. So it's really not my full-time job. If you were wondering, I'm not a creator full-time. I would love to be, but definitely not something that I do full-time. So I do have a full-time job, and if you've been with me a little bit, you kind of know what I do, but if not, I live in Canada, and specifically Ottawa, which is our nation's capital. It's not Toronto, which is confusing because it's more well-known maybe than Ottawa, but Ottawa is our capital, and I work in politics. I'm a federal lobbyist, which means that I talk to politicians and I talk to government, I talk to the Prime Minister's office or departments, and I try and sway policies for people's interests. I found with my previous job, I was lobbying for lots of different interests. It was more of a firm that would take on different clients instead of one client that you were advocating for. And so it was very busy, very overwhelming at times because you have so many interests vying for the attention of the government, and me being that main point of contact between the company and the government, it got to a point where I felt like my brain was a bit mush after work and not as connected at home with my family, and I was just always constantly on work mode and was working late into the evenings, and I love advocating, but I didn't really love advocating for causes that didn't align with me personally, if that makes sense. I don't want to dive into it fully, but it just didn't feel right at times advocating for certain interests personally. So I really took it to heart, and I really was like, this is really busy. It's like not conducive with flexibility for my chronic illness and appointments that I may need to take on. I felt like it just wasn't a good fit. It just wasn't a good fit. And when you know yourself, just like you know your body, you know when something is just off or just like jarring, like not aligned with maybe how you work or you operate and how you feel positive and uplifted. It just was not really my cup of tea, let's just say. So stepped away from that, and now I'm advocating for climate action, and I'm with a environmental NGO. I am so incredibly honored first and foremost to be with this NGO. They are amazing. The team is small but so supportive, and it's not like my other job wasn't. The team is great. This team is just so positive, and just like the work we do keeps us motivated every day and every step of the way. So I am feeling very excited. I feel very blessed to be part of this team. I'm not advocating for a bunch of different interests that don't align with me. Like, I'm very climate conscious. I care so deeply. And so that's the new gig. Like, I'm advocating for climate policies that make sense for both our economy and for the environment. And I just feel really excited, and I feel like every day I want to go in and learn more and just educate myself more, dive into it, and just feel positive about the impact that I'm leaving. So that's what's been going on the work front. Obviously very busy, but very excited. On the endometriosis front, I do have updates from the last kind of touch point that I did on here. Basically, I have a new doctor, and they referred me to an endometriosis specialist here in the city that I'm in. Previously, I was in Toronto, and things got muddled and messy and lost in the process a little bit. So my journey with endo kind of took a stop, and it was impacting me a little bit. Since giving birth almost 3 years ago now, my pain has been setting in, and it's just been trickling back in, and I'm having flares again and different symptoms like migraines, and yeah, so I just wanted to get it figured out. So since that point where I got the endometriosis specialist referral, I had an ultrasound done this past week. So it's very recent, very fresh on the update front for the endo. So I did an internal and external ultrasound. And basically the results from that have come back, and I just see an update on, it's called My Chart from the hospital, and I will be talking about the results next week with the endo specialist that I'm seeing. But basically on those results, they did find markers of endometriosis. So great, we know that endo is there. And they also found a cyst on my right ovary that is good to know. I know that there's something there, and thinking back to my pain and how it manifests, in my head, I'm like, well, it does make sense in my eyes that there's something happening on the right side of my anatomy. Every time I have an endo flare, I don't know if you're the same, but I feel sharper or more intensified pain on one side of my body, which is the right side for me. And understanding now that there's a cyst that's visible on the ovary makes sense that I would have maybe a little bit more pain during ovulation or during a flare, that painful tugging, sharpness sensation. And so on the write-up for the update from the hospital was basically it's seemingly an endometrioma that's seen on the ovary. So it's gonna be good to talk to my endo specialist next week, and I obviously will update you on what they say on what that means, what they think about the function of the ovary. Those are some of my main questions on, like, is it big enough that it's impacting things? Is it tugging in one direction because of other things happening? Like, do I have to remove the cyst, or is it okay to leave? Like, I want clarity on that, but I also feel very blessed to know that that's what's going on. And I don't think I really ever had that answer. I don't know if the cyst is new, if it's developed over the past kind of years since my last update with endo. And so I just never knew that there was a cyst on my ovary before. So this is a new update for my endo journey, and it's good to know that it's visible on ultrasound. And again, like I've always kind of talked about with endo may not show up on ultrasounds. It can sometimes hide behind structures or not be like camera ready for being seen. And it doesn't mean that you don't have endo. It just means that it's harder to see on that type of imaging. And so your pain is valid, your experience with it is valid, but knowing that they did see markers of endo on the ultrasound and the cyst, which is deemingly seen as an endometrioma, is again more clarity and more like, I guess, weight off my shoulders, which might seem weird to say because it might seem like, oh, it's heavy to take on, like that's heavy information to kind of sit with. But for me, advocating and trying to get answers, I'm like, something else that I know, something else that I have clarity on, that I can research more about and dive into a little bit more with my own body. And I think it's always like, I think that's freedom in itself when I think about it, of like, what is free to me, and it's education and awareness of what's going on with your own body and like body autonomy of what you want to know about it, what's going on, and how you want to act after. Like, I have the decision myself with my body to say, based on the information I get next week from the specialist, on if I want to move forward on potentially removing the cyst or keeping it if it's not impacting things. Like, I have that autonomy because it's my body. And so that's my endo update for you. I am looking forward to getting more info on what that means from the specialist, but thought I would update you there. On the endo and work front combined, having this job is very flexible and I'm able to go to appointments and stuff. Like, it's super great that way. But unfortunately, like the day that I had the ultrasound, the ultrasound was at 8 a.m. I had a meeting downtown at 11, and then I had so many other meetings the rest of the day until 6 p.m. downtown. And if you've ever done an internal ultrasound for endo, I don't know if, again, you're the same, but for me, I always feel more intensified cramping and discomfort, and like, I feel a little bit yucky after the internal ultrasound because it just is like poking and prodding around like sensitive tissue. It's navigating the work and chronic illness piece that's always an interesting puzzle piece to try and figure out. And so basically what I did was I had the ultrasound, I took medication right after, like a leave. And again, don't take medication unless you talk to your doctor, but it's just an available medication that I take usually for an endo flare. So I took that right after my appointment to kind of settle any discomfort that could take place. I also packed pads in case I had any bleeding that took place after, which didn't happen. And I just monitored myself. But I'm not gonna lie, like, it was a very like energy draining day, just talking to groups of people, having this underlying discomfort that I have to like put a smile on and like not show that I'm in pain. And some days I know I'm not gonna get it right, and some days my flare might kick in after an ultrasound or something related to endo. And I'll be open about that too on my channel, I think, this year, about how I'm gonna manage work and life with endo. I think in the past I may have not had time or felt weird to, I don't know, not weird is the word, but just like not as open about my work with the endo piece in it. But I'm gonna try my best to be more open about it and how I'm managing and what I'm learning and what I wanna change if it's like full-blown flare during a meeting, like how I kind of went through that, if that happens. And so yeah, those are my updates. I feel like I've been like chatting away over here, but if you have any updates that you want to share with me, feel free to comment them down below. It can be life related, endo related, you got a new dog, whatever it is. I want to know how you're doing. And I just hope that the first little bit of the year has been great for you. You deserve a very beautiful, positive 2025. And we still have so many more days in the year to make it that if it's been a little bit less than what you deserve this year. So just know that I'm thinking of you, and I'm looking forward to our next chit chat in the next video. And the series is coming back, so look out for those next couple of videos in the series. If there's anything else that you'd like to see from me on my channel, feel free to also let me know. This is a place for you. It's not solely for me, this is made for you. So if there's anything you want info on or just more info about myself, feel free to let me know as well, and I'll be happy to dive into that this year. With that, I cannot wait to talk to you on the next one.